Welcome to the Forget About Money podcast, where we discuss a money-related topic and then forget about money and entertain ourselves for the rest of the episode. I'm here with Carla and Eric Cooper. Today, we are going to discuss the retirement lifestyle. Eric is here because he's retired, I am retired, and Carla is all but retired. So it should be interesting to have a couple different perspectives that maybe you will find valuable. Welcome, Eric.
Thank you. Great to be here. I'm excited to see you guys. Hey, Carla. Hey, Dave.
Hi, we're so excited that you're here today, hanging out with us. Yeah, I think this is going to be a fun episode, guys.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Let's start with what you retired from, Eric.
You know, I retired from a job that was stressful. It was political. I was director of communication for a pilot union. So my bosses were all union elected officials. And every year there was an election for a new boss. So you can imagine not knowing who your bosses were going to be the coming years and the tension that comes along with that. And somehow I made it through that career for 22 and a half years before I decided that I had had enough and I was ready to retire. And I think the breaking point for me was going into COVID and realizing that I did like being at home. I was not afraid of being at home. So when they told us that we were coming back to the office, I knew right then and there that I wasn't happy about that idea. So I did go into the office a few times, and going back in immediately, it was awkward and didn't feel good. So I went to the economy conference, and this was in 2021, toward the end of 2021. And the week I returned from that conference, I sent my letter of resignation to my boss, and I have not regretted that decision one bit.
That's so exciting. And yeah, it's those stressful jobs, I can definitely relate. I had a pretty high stress job too. And the feeling of just leaving that all behind is absolutely amazing. So I'm so glad you got to do that too. So I feel like the big question is when you do retire from something, right? We're always talking in the FI community about you have to retire to something as well. So can you talk a little bit about that and what you feel like you have retired to and how that's felt?
Yeah, I think I could speak to that a little bit. So going into retirement is a little different. I feel like it has changed a lot. It's a constant change from what I started out doing, which was a lot of projects, a lot of travel. I've been to, this year alone, 13 countries. So I've done a good share of travel, which is amazing, but it's also tiring. And you get to the point where you're like, okay, I just need to slow down a little bit. So I'm trying to do that. I'm trying to pause a bit. And also I have a relationship that started this year, which is changing the dynamics of my retirement quite a bit. Most people, they start having children early in life and they do all these things. Well, now I'm kind of in the reverse situation because my partner has two twin boys who are 13 and a daughter who's 8. So for me, I tried to help him out as much as possible. He lives about an hour and 20 minutes away, and he's a single dad and he runs his own business. So now I kind of am helping with running the kids to school when I'm, in town with him, or making dinner when he's working, or doing the things that I can in a supportive role that I otherwise wouldn't be able to do. And I know that's a luxury that retirement affords me because he's still working, the kids are still in school. So a lot of my time, extra time, is spent with them, which is great. I really enjoy it, but it was unexpected. I never anticipated that I would be in a position where I could be a stepfather. In fact, if I can tell just a really quick story, I was at the FI retreat in Bali just a couple of weeks ago, and the Donegans did an exercise asking us to take a look at what identities we were assigned by society, by our family, by friends. And the identity that was assigned to me is that I would never be a parent. I remember when I came out to my mom at 24 years old, the first words out of her mouth were, "That's the death of my grandchildren."
Oh my gosh.
Right. So that's pretty big. Like right there, she assigned that I would never be a parent.
Wow.
So in a sense, in 1998, when I came out, you couldn't get married. You couldn't have kids. It just wasn't even a possibility. So I see why she felt that. I do. I get it. But now, 25 years later, it's an opportunity that I have to be a step parent and to get married if I wish. So my direction is really transitioning. And it's a really positive thing, and I'm embracing it. But yeah, it's different. It's exciting.
Man, I love that so much.
Thank you.
Is your mother still around?
No, she passed away a year after we had that conversation, less than a year.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, I would. What do you think she would think of now?
Oh, she'd be excited. These kids are so amazing. They're smart and funny. They're really genuine and caring. Both of their parents are just phenomenal people, and they've created amazing children. So I think my mom would absolutely love them. And I wish she would have the opportunity to meet them and see where I am in life.
Yeah. How long has it been since you've retired?
3 years. It'll be 3 years in January.
Okay. So you and I are roughly around the same time we retired.
Yeah.
And people often ask, as you just alluded to, like, how do you feel your days in retirement? Outside looking in, they're like, oh my gosh, since they go to work every day, 8 to 10, 12 hours a day, they think that we must be bored in some way. And that's one aspect of the conversation. But I think the other aspect of when you're retiring, you do have more time on your side of the equation. It allows for the flexibility to not necessarily say, I'm going to do this, this, and this to fill my day, but to live your life. And then should something come along, that fills your day. In your case, you're able to drive an hour and 20 minutes to support the people that you love and be there as a positive resource for those people that you care about. And you're bringing value to their lives.
Absolutely. And I can't think that if I were still working full time and a part-time job and managing 4 rental properties myself, that I would have the capacity, the mental and emotional capacity to be there for them in the way that I am now. I just don't think it would happen. I can't fathom that would be the case.
That sounds like a really wonderful, magical relationship. And yeah, I've had the joy of meeting your boyfriend, and he's just thoroughly wonderful. And I'm sure his kids are as well. So yeah, that's just such a heartwarming story. And what a great use of all this extra time that you've freed up in retirement to build this new little family unit and get to help support these kids. And I'm sure they completely adore you as well. So yeah, that just sounds like a absolutely lovely use of your time.
Before you retired, you probably had a mindset. You may have already started that mindset transition while you were still actively working. But how do you think your mindset has shifted from, let's say, the last 3 years of working, now 3 years after you've retired?
I was always a type A workhorse personality. Again, I had a full-time job. I had a part-time job that I would go to after my full-time job. And I had 4 rental properties that I self-managed. I also volunteered in various organizations and had board positions. So looking back, I don't know how I did it all, but I realized that I was really burned out. I needed a break. And so I let go of those full-time and part-time positions. I have my self-managed rental properties still, and I'm looking to sell those and take those off my plate sometime in the not too distant future. But I'm really trying to focus my time and my energy and my money on the people that matter to me. And I think that makes such a difference in life when you've got that ability and that flexibility to really focus on the things that bring you joy. And that's what I'm doing this year. I have let go of the board positions. I still have 2 board positions, but I've let go of the ones that didn't bring me joy. And it feels really good to step aside from that and instead focus that time and energy on the people and things that I do care about. So, I'm spending more energy, more time, and more money on the people I love. I'm doing some great travel, and, I'm doing it while I'm still young and healthy. And it's been a huge shift that allows me to focus on the people and things that I love.
That's a pretty awesome answer. So I'm curious if you can talk a little bit about whether you have felt fully financially secure during this past 3 years of retirement. Have there been any moments where you thought, should I splurge on that trip, for example, or I'm worried about, just like sort of the funds flow model that you have, actual dollars that are coming in the door? Yeah. Have you felt pretty good about managing all of that, or have there been any moments of insecurity?
Well, let me tell you, in January of 2022, I retired. And as David probably felt this as well, the market crashed and there was a lot of uncertainty. We were coming out of COVID. The market just absolutely tanked. My 401k was essentially cut in half. And I was in mostly tech stocks at the time. I wasn't doing low-cost index funds like we're supposed to be doing. And the market kept falling through 2022. And it didn't slowly start rebuilding until January of 2023. And I didn't feel financially insecure at that point, despite those huge drops, because I know that I was living off of my rental property income at the time. I wasn't even touching my 401k or any money that I had in savings. My bills were all being paid, and I was still doing some great travel just on my rental property income. So as the market started to rebound, I decided in December of 2023, almost 2 full years into retirement, that I would do a 72T, allowing me to tap into some funds in my 401k for the first time. So I created a fund bucket, and that first distribution was $20,000 in December of 2023, just last year. And I liked it so much, and I enjoyed spending it so much, that I did a second 72T in September of this year, and I did another $10,000. So now I'm withdrawing $30,000 a year, and those distributions will continue until I'm 59 and a half. So over the course of the next 10 years, I'll be withdrawing $300,000 in my portfolio, which is great, and that's that much less money that I'll have to worry about paying down the road when we have to pay required minimum distributions. I'm also getting to enjoy that money now with the people that matter to me. And it takes a little bit of the stress off and allows me to do fun things and treat people with the fun bucket. And it's been great. I really enjoy it.
That's a fantastic way to tackle that problem. I'm curious, if you let these rental properties go like you're thinking about doing, do you think you will have more anxiety down the road if we see another big market drop?
No, I don't think so. I think there will be a huge cash distribution once those rental properties are sold. So I feel like I will have a huge cash cushion that I don't have at the moment on hand. So I do feel like I will actually have more financial security at that point.
Yeah. Cool. That's a good way to think about it.
Mm-hmm. Let's get into some X's and O's real quick. You've got 4 rental properties, correct?
Correct.
Is your plan to sell like 1 per year to minimize that tax hit?
My goal is to figure out by the end of this year how I want to do this. And I still don't have that clear path forward to sell my properties. I feel like I need to wait to see what's going to happen with the new administration that's coming in and what changes are going to come out of the ACA. Not that that should necessarily drive my decision, but I do get the ACA subsidies. And if I sell my properties all at once, then clearly I'll lose that subsidy. But if the ACA subsidies all go away, then it doesn't matter. I can sell them all at once and it's not an issue any longer. So I don't know the answer to that yet. I want to meet with some people and talk through some options and try to figure that out.
For the sake of discussion, let's assume that you're going to sell 1 per year. As you sell each property, would you consider taking that? And I'm only saying this because I think you probably thought through this, and I'd like to hear what you're thinking. I'm just thinking through it right now for the first time. Would you take that lump sum and put it into wherever pocket of money that you're pulling that 72T distribution from, and then just use that? Or would you put it into a checking account for, sleep well at night money?
I think part of it I will use in a checking account just to beef up, cash on hand. The rest of it would be invested in the market, just in a brokerage account.
That makes sense to me. So how often are you thinking about money these days? Is it like a once a month thing where you kind of just check in, or is it a daily thing for you? Yeah.
I don't think about money that often anymore. I think about it toward the end of the month when I have to do some invoicing for the condo associations that I'm still part of, for the work that I do for them. I think about it at the first of the month when my rent is coming in from my tenants, because I want to make sure everything's paid. And I have to pay my mortgage, my credit card bills, my condo fees. And then at the end of the year, like now, property taxes are all coming due. And then I think about it as I'm planning my year ahead. I look at my taxable income this time of year. What is it looking like? What's it going to be for the coming year? How is that going to affect my ACA plan, the subsidies? So I do think about money a little bit, but not in the sense of, do I have enough? Am I going to be able to pay my bills? It's more of, do I need to shift things around? Do I have enough in my checking account to cover at this point? I'm not stressed about money, which is a great feeling.
So what you're thinking more is like strategically, you're very sound, but you still go through the tactics of money management under that, whatever your overarching strategy is.
Yeah, I think for me, it's also, what am I going to do with my fun bucket? That's a fun thing to think about with money. So when I do think about money, it's also, what am I going to do for Christmas gifts this year? What am I going to do for travel? Those are all good problems. So very good problems.
Yeah, it sounds like you've also been tackled by Kevin Sebesta and Mark Troutman at some point.
Yeah, they're great guys. Mark has been such a great inspiration for so many of us in the FI community. And it's great to see him enjoying life and traveling and being such a good role model for the rest of us who are following in his footsteps. So fun bucket for all.
Fun bucket for all. I love that approach. That's great. I'm just curious, what's on tap for the fun bucket for 2025? Anything in the works already?
Oh, geez. I'm going on the FI cruise, the FinTalks cruise, which is going to be a great time. And my partner, Nate, is going to go. This will be his first big FI event, and he's a little bit nervous. He's new to the FI community, so everybody needs to be gentle and welcoming to him, which I know they will. But yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to that. My friend Kristen, she is a longtime friend. We've been friends for 20 plus years, and she joined the FI community about 2 years ago. And she is now partially retired as of this year. And she decided she wants to start planning trips for the FI community. So she created a website, FI Friends Travel, and she's already got 3 big trips planned. One is going to be kind of a pairing to Stephen's Camp FI in Spain coming up in April and May. And then she also has a Christmas cruise down the Danube for next year, and then another trip to Morocco. So she's planning all these amazing trips that I need to look into. In fact, she and I are going to talk immediately after this call about some of those trips and whether or not that's something that I would be interested in doing.
That's exciting.
But yeah, if anybody's interested, go to FI Friends Travel. She's got some great insight on the trips there, and you can learn more about those. But
yeah, I got my eye on the Morocco trip. I'm excited about that one.
Yeah, I would love to go on that one too. Sounds really good. That's all I've got so far. Yeah, for this coming year, I want to slow down a little bit on travel. I've got one friend that already is doing a trip to Chile, and she is asking me to go along, so I'm going to look at that. But yeah, I'm just trying to chill a little bit this year on travel, or this coming year on travel.
So one curious question I have. I feel like so many of us, we spend a lot of our fun buckets on travel. That seems to be the biggest thing. Are there any items that you actually bring into your life or your home that you would think would be a fun addition to your lifestyle that would actually make a difference in your day-to-day life? Yeah, any thoughts there?
At some point, I will want to get another car, but I'm not anywhere near that yet.
Is that like a fun thing for you, or is that just sort of
I love cars.
Okay.
I've probably had 30 cars in my life. So yes, I love cars. But yeah, I don't know. That's a tough one. I'm not a consumer. Like, I'm kind of an anti-consumer. So stuff doesn't make me happy. I don't like shopping. I don't enjoy that. Like, that stresses me out.
Yeah.
So
I get that too.
I like experiences. So I'm all about spending on experiences, things that bring me joy, but I'm trying to get rid of stuff. Like, at some point, I will probably sell my place, so I don't need a bunch of stuff. The idea of living on a cruise ship for a year or two after my partner's children graduate and move out, that sounds really appealing to me, like traveling the world and just being out at sea and going port to port and exploring together. So I don't know. Those are all things that could happen down the road. And if he's up for it and we're in good health, we'll see what happens.
I do see hardwood floors in the background. You don't have like a Roomba that would make your life easier?
I don't. I still clean on my own. I do my own cleaning. Just put on my little apron and get down and scrub.
David, what about you? Are you a stuff guy at all? Are there things that you feel like actually...
I'm sorry, I got distracted with the apron visual that he just mentioned. I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
I sure can. Are you a stuff guy, David? For example, are you a big apron fan? It seems like you got distracted by that, like a shiny new toy. So,
well, I never thought I was before until right now, maybe. I don't know what happened there.
Yep. Now you know.
Yeah. A stuff thing, no, I'm not a stuff person. Actually, if you were to walk into my house, you'd see very basic but nice things. I don't have a lot of things. I don't like clutter. I was actually looking at a shelf that I have. It's actually just like a bar table, like a high top table. Usually I only like to keep like 4 or 5 things, but I think 2 more things are going. I'm like, should I take those 2 things off of that table and just get rid of them? It might be too much for visually aesthetics. This might be messing with my chi or whatever it is. But
feng shui. I'm not sure how you say that.
But I do. Yeah, that's probably more correct. I do believe that if you use something, spend money on it. Like buy something nice. Like if You spend a lot of time sitting on a couch. I'm not advocating that, but if you do, don't buy an IKEA couch. Go buy something that's going to last 20 years that you're going to enjoy and be comfortable with. If you're replacing an appliance in your house and you're going to be in the house for 10 years or more that you think, buy the best, whatever that is you can buy, because you've got to deal with that every single day. And if you're actually to figure out how much that costs over time versus a cheaper model, it's probably going to be pennies more a day or dollars more a month for that item to improve your life in some way.
And good coffee. I know Carla's not a coffee drinker, but...
Not a coffee person, but I like the smell of coffee. So I appreciate it when others make coffee around me, but I just have no interest in drinking it.
And Carla and Robert spend on games. They spend more per capita on games than any other person in the US. It's very true. I looked that up in Wikipedia.
We do invest in board games. But yeah, I do feel like there are some objects that you can buy that actually do create experiences. And board games are like a perfect example of that. So yeah, we have so much fun playing games with friends. In fact, here in Longmont, just about every Friday night, I mean, we've actually been slacking a little bit lately, but last Friday night we did this. And I think the Friday before we did this, we have a standing board game night with a bunch of folks. So yeah, shout out to the Longmont board game crew. But yeah, I feel like games are a perfect example. And then the other huge one that comes to mind for me is any kind of musical instrument. I feel like getting a really good quality musical instrument adds so much dimension to your life. So is it an object or is it an experience? I don't know. You could make a case for both.
You know what? That's a good point, Carla. Like music, as you know, like you, I prioritize music in my life. I played trumpet growing up, create a little bit of music. It's fun. It brings me a lot of joy. My son started playing trumpet this year in 5th grade, and he got a trumpet assigned to him, and it's a good enough trumpet for a beginner. But then he's lugging this trumpet back and forth to class. So then I'm like, okay, at some point, he's either going to say, oh, I forgot it and I can't practice at home. And he goes back between his mom's and my house. So I just thought that could be a potential friction point. So what I did is I just bought a cheap beginner one to keep at our house. And we just exchange it every time we exchange Quentin.
There you go.
So that reduces that. And I told him if he's still playing and improving a year from now, I'll get him the next level up. And then every year I'll just get him a better trumpet. But being financially independent and having the money to do that allows you to think through those kind of things. Is it worth I'm not sure what I paid with it, maybe $200 something for it? I don't know. It's one less friction point in my life because of it, or potential friction point.
Yeah, that sounds like a very solid use of $200. I fully support that.
Eric, before you retired, you were probably on blogs and hearing stories of mostly anecdotal, because I haven't really seen too much proof in it in real life. Stories about people retiring and then regretting it for whatever reason. Let me ask you straight up, do you regret retiring?
No, I do not. I think there are a lot of things that I don't like. There's politics, processed food, litter, inflation. There's a huge list. But retirement, I think, is a gift. Early retirement is a gift that I've given myself that just keeps on giving. Like, I decide how, when, where, with whom I spend my time and energy and resources. And you know, if there is a nagging frustration in my life, if there's something that's not right, I have to identify what that is. I have to figure out where that friction point is, because there's nobody else to blame at this point. Like, it's me. It's me that's controlling my destiny at this point. I'm not looking at anybody to give me direction. So I think that's pretty amazing when you think about it. And it's a lot of power that you give yourself. So I think people that come into retirement, early retirement, and they don't have things to look forward to, or they don't have curiosities about life, they may struggle until they figure out what those paths are. I worry about my brother. He's getting ready to retire, and his life looks a lot different than mine. So I hope that he finds things that he enjoys doing. But, you know, for the people that do retire early and love it, it's amazing. So my suggestion is just find a few things that you can lean into that make you comfortable and enjoy those while you're looking to develop new hobbies and new experiences. Because then you've got some things that comfort you as you lean into your retirement. Also, if you're a person that likes structure, create that structure. For me, it was finding a morning project. So I'd do my morning project. Then I would go to the gym. I like my physical fitness. I want to be outdoors, so work outside. Then I would come home, make my lunch, and I like a little 20-minute nap. It's a luxury I've never gotten to have. And it's amazing just to take 20 minutes and just chill. And then I have an afternoon project some days. So creating that structure really is nice because you know that you've got things that you need to do and you kind of have your eyes set on something. And they don't have to be huge projects. It could be getting your bills paid. It could be getting the lawn mowed. It could be but having something on the back burner that you know you need to get done is helpful. And I like that structure.
David, what about you? You are also fully retired. I'm only semi-retired. So yeah, how have you found a way to structure your time? And have you ever regretted it?
I have never, oh wait, hold on. I might have done things a little differently had I known the outcome that was inevitable for me. I had military retirement. So military career, after 20 years, you can retire and receive a pension forever until you die at least. At the time, had a family. We had plans to retire to San Diego. And you have to let the military know about a year out your plans to retire. I had planned to retire anyway, but that was to relocate a family and focus on family for a while or forever. Within a few months of retiring, I was told that that family unit was in question. So if I could go back, and I'm now divorced. So if I could go back knowing that outcome, I likely would have stayed in the military for a little bit longer. The trajectory of my career was great, pay was great, and it would have given me a little bit more of a, I hate to say it, probably, whether it's good or bad, probably a distraction through that life transition.
Yeah,
I would have
makes
made
sense.
I believe I would have made captain. I was commander. I would have probably made 06 within a year and a half or 2 years from my retirement date, which propels the income. Your pension is based on base pay. Base pay goes up. Your pension goes up for the rest of your life. So maybe 3 or 4 more years in would have excelled that financial picture a little bit. But am I unhappy? Absolutely not. So I don't regret retiring. I might regret some of the direction that my life took. As far as retirement, life has been pretty good. My lifestyle has been pretty good. And actually, I think it's given me more space to deal with such a transition like that.
So if you had that additional income, if you'd worked those extra 2 or 3 years in the military, what do you think you'd do differently with your life? How would that extra income change your lifestyle?
It likely wouldn't have changed my lifestyle. It may ease some of the potential anxiety of the unknown, but other than that, it would not have made a practical daily change, I don't think, for my lifestyle or level of happiness ultimately.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like you should have no regrets, David. If it wouldn't change your lifestyle in a meaningful way, then yeah, it sounds like maybe it worked out well. And you've had more time to dedicate to Quentin, right? In these
That is
last few
absolutely
years.
true.
So
I know I will not regret that.
yeah, so many things to not regret. Very important. Well, should we do what the title of this podcast suggests we do and forget about money and talk about something a little bit more fun for a bit?
Woohoo!
Let's do it.
Okay, I'm actually really excited to talk about this because, David, you and I had a very interesting conversation as we were preparing for this podcast. I suggested this as a topic, and that topic is basically, how do you make friends as an adult? And you were just stumped by the fact that this was a problem for anyone. So, David, I think you are just too cool for the rest of us. It's just so easy for you to make friends that you don't understand why this is a thing that like a lot of adults think about and actually have to put some effort into. But yeah, I don't know. I'm curious, Eric, what is your take? Do you feel like it's easy to make friends as an adult? Is it something that you've had to put effort into? Or are you like David? You're just so cool. It's super easy for you.
I'm definitely not so super cool that it's easy. My personality, I'm very much I kind of like my own space a lot of times, and I'm a little weary about people. I think that is part of the identity I was given growing up, and I'm trying to overcome that. But I would say for me, the easiest way I have found to meet friends as an adult is to attend in-person FI meetings, whether that's a local Choose FI group meetup, or in my case, I went to Camp FI my very first week of retirement in January of 2022. And I met Stephen, and I met Mark Troutman, Amy Minkley, and all these people that are so just so central to the FI community. And it really shaped and changed how my retirement looks. And through that, I've met dozens and dozens of people and gone on cruises. I mean, heck, I traveled to Europe with you, Carla, and Roberts, and
Yes, you
Keith,
did.
and Dusty. So it's just a really life-changing experience when you do step into the FI community and you go to these in-person meetups and you meet these amazing people that have similar outlooks on life and similar paths and financial opportunities that they can take advantage of. And a lot of us love to travel too. So it's really great when you have those companions that are kind of built in. So yeah, I do think it's hard to make friends as adults outside of the FI community. Inside of the FI community, I think it's really easy to connect with people if you give it an opportunity and you're not afraid to do so. But you really have to look for those events and make the effort to attend. So if you haven't done so, go to a Camp FI, go to Economy, do those things and meet the people that can really change your life, because it is life-changing.
Yeah, I could not possibly agree more. I think that's by far the best way that we have made friends. I think just about everyone that we know in Longmont, with the exception of like a couple of Robert's coworkers, like we met them in some way, shape, or form, connected through the Mr. Mini Mustache HQ, where we spend a lot of time. We're there at least once a week for a weekly potluck, which we have tonight. Yeah, it's just this incredible collection of humans who just seem to have so many things in common. Like I never have fully wrapped my head around it. Like, what is it about just having, our proverbial financial stuff together that also means we have all these other weird things in common? I've never quite figured out an answer to that. But for whatever reason, it is true. It just seems to be that people who are more introverted really open up to each other, get to know each other, and just find all these things in common and that are willing to just keep doing it. And these relationships just flourish. So I think I am a huge proponent of the FI community and getting out there and meeting folks in person, because I think that's just a total game changer. And I can't imagine what our life would look like right now if we had not moved to Longmont, if we hadn't been to all these Camp FIs, been on the FinTalks cruise. It would be a much lonelier experience. So that's my take too. I do think there are ways outside of the FI community, but man, that is like the ultimate life hack for me, is just go to a FI event, meet cool people, like check friendships off your to-do list for life, because you'll just meet the most amazing folks. So David, I didn't mean to throw you under the bus there a little bit, but do you want to talk about why you're so flummoxed as to why this is a question for most adults?
Yeah, David.
This is just going to be one. This is just going to be one of many topics I think that Carla, you and I will have interesting, odd discussions about, because after talking with you about it briefly, it really hit me. I was like, why do I seem like I'm so far off the reservation on this? So anyway, that's just the way it is. Maybe I just never feel lonely. So I never feel that void. I never feel that. And I know that somebody out there might be saying, oh my gosh, how's that possible? I don't know how it's possible. It's just the way it is for me. Does that mean I don't desire to go out and have a chit chat with somebody? Sure.
But do you meet new people outside of the FI community on a regular basis that you become friends with as an adult?
I do not intentionally go to things with the objective of making new friends, if that makes sense.
So how many new friends outside of the FI community did you make this year?
I've been to a Camp FI with you. I know you get to know people. Like, I know you would seem to enjoy people. So I don't think you're a misanthrope. I just think this like loneliness is not something that you've ever struggled with, is what it sounds like to me, which is great. Like, so many people would kill to be in that position.
I do think if you were to survey people who are retired and ask them what percentage of their current friends are from previous life, pre-retirement, versus what percentage of their friends or valuable human connections, positive value human connections, are in post-retirement. And I bet it's logical to think that farther along you get into retirement, that gets swayed more towards a higher percentage of friendships made after. But Eric, do you have any close relationships with people that you worked with or pre-retirement that you met through work? Not like a high school buddy or a college friend?
Yeah, we still have a group that gets together. I'm actually having lunch with one of my former coworkers on Thursday of this week. I'm really looking forward to it. We're going to celebrate both of our birthdays. Yay. And I will say this, though. I find that I am running into my 5 friends more than my regular friends. You know, I am seeing, for example, Keith this year, I've seen probably 15 times, where one of my best friends literally lives 6 blocks from me. And I think I've seen him 4 or 5 times this year. So I feel a big shift in friendships. I feel a large outpouring of friendships from the FI community that are easy to build. And there's so much built into them already that you have in common. It's just easy. It's so easy. And everybody wants to travel and explore and go to meetups. So yeah, I do feel like, yes, there's room in my life still for the people who were there before I retired. I do still keep in touch with them and I enjoy those friendships very much, but it's definitely different now.
I think one message that you're stating very clearly is if someone hasn't retired yet and they're wondering who they're going to associate with, who are they going to find value in connecting with after, they might be thinking, I'm going to retire. I go to work all day. I see these people all day. We share lunches together. We share an office. Who am I going to talk to and visit with in post-retirement? Well, I think what you're saying and what I've experienced, Carla, you seem to be in this big gray area of still working, but living a retired life just about, which is great. I think that's very magical too. I think it's reassuring. I think it's reassuring to, if you're listening to this and you haven't pulled the trigger and left your work or retired or transitioned into the life after FI, don't worry. It's going to be okay. You're going to find people. You're going to maybe even have more space to feel more connected and more fulfilled as a person.
Yeah, I certainly agree with that. I would not be afraid to pull the trigger because you're worried about who you will hang out with if you are willing to jump into the FI community, because there's so many of us. Like, you will find someone in this group who's your cup of tea. And yeah, it's just pretty diverse and wonderful group of folks. I will say, though, that I do think it's important. You can't just like go to a Camp FI and then be like, oh, well, I guess I've made all my friends. I'm done. Like, you have to continue to invest in those relationships, right? So I think a huge part of that, from my perspective, is you have to plan things. Like, you have to be the one who's initiating things. So around here, like this weekly potluck, my good friend Dusty and I decided that this would be a fun thing to do. So we just made it happen. And now it's become, this wonderful tradition that so many people around here look forward to. I know I certainly do. So yeah, I think you just have to like really put in the time and the effort to make that a reality for you. Another fun example. So in just a few weeks here, Eric and Nate are going to be coming to Longmont for a Christmas party that we're having. And I'm just like so excited about it. I can't stand it. It's going to be like a Christmas musical party. And a couple of friends and I are doing a like Vince Guaraldi trio. So we've had so much fun practicing for that. And like people are preparing all kinds of things to play. So yeah, I think it just requires that investment of time and effort to just make things happen, put things together. So the FI community is an amazing hack to find folks to do those things with, but you still put in that effort, I would say.
And Nate has requested a game night when we come to Longmont. So
obviously.
He loves games. Yeah. He loves playing games.
Just try to stop me.
Carla, it just hit me that I might be completely disingenuous in my response. And I don't know how I missed it.
Okay.
I recorded this podcast for a year, nearly a year now. Actually, over a year recording. And each of those interactions is an interaction with another human being who I share value with, mostly share values with.
So that was a date meeting.
Yes, I wasn't.
Totally share values.
So maybe that's why, one of the reasons, at least in the last year, I haven't felt like, disconnected or anything, because I could always look forward to conversations like this with cool people. So
yeah,
I like seeing that light bulb come over your head. It's like, bing.
It's an LED back here.
Yeah,
somewhere.
It's energy saving.
Should just pick it up. Hold on.
That's great.
Ding.
Oh, nice.
Ding.
There you go. That's perfect. No, I do think that's a perfect example. Like starting a podcast that forces you to interact with other people, or not forces you, but like gives you a framework for it and gives you a reason to do it. I think that's it's very similar to the Christmas party or the potluck. Like you just have to plan these things and make it happen, and boom, you have people in your life. So it's perfect.
There is one way that I've never heard of someone meeting a lifelong friend over, and that's trampling over them at a Walmart entrance at a Black Friday.
That's how I meet most of my friends. You never done that?
That's my number one. Yeah.
So what about dating? That's a fun question. Tell us about dating in the FI world, David. How's that going?
I generally don't date in the FI world.
Like,
that was a hard and fast
Is this
decision.
towards me or is this towards Carla?
Well, Carla's taken. She's married. She's been married since she was in like 12th grade.
I was just keeping it clear, you know?
Yeah, that's
different
true.
strokes. I don't ever
I'm
know.
very taken. Wait, you're saying you don't date in the FI community? Is that what you're saying?
I am financially independent and I have dated over the last 3 years. Very few of those people have been directly involved in the financial independence community.
Do you feel like it's kind of, because we do all hang out a lot, do you feel like it's almost incestuous? Like you're worried about, messing up other friendships or anything if you date in the FI pool?
Yeah, you don't want to be known as Messy David. No, not Messy David.
I'm not sure I feel comfortable talking about any of this right now.
Totally putting you on the spot. That's fair.
Because I do have strong opinions. I just don't want them recorded.
Okay.
You can edit this out. Yeah.
Transition to to Black Friday. We should talk about Black Friday.
It's racist.
Okay. My first question, are you guys planning on buying anything through like Black Friday sales this year?
I would only buy one thing, and that is if Stephen Boyer decides he's going to do another discount on Camp Fives. That's the only thing I bought on Black Friday in the last 3 years. And it is the only thing I would look forward to buying again are some discounted Camp Fives. But I don't think Stephen's going to do that. I think he's got too many Camp Fives already, and everybody's going and they're all selling out. So I have very low hopes that we're going to see Black Friday discount deals on Camp Fi.
But aren't they just like $50 or something discount? I'm not even sure how much he discounts them.
It's still a deal. I love a good deal.
But you have tons of money.
It's the thrill.
No, I can relate to that, Eric. Yeah. I do think we will buy probably a couple of things. We need a new vacuum cleaner and we need a new washing machine. They're both slowly giving out on us. So yeah, Black Friday seems like as good a time as any to pick up those new things. Yeah, what about you,
Buy
David?
the best you can buy, and we can talk offline about those brands and things, but I'm sure you and Robert, as analytical and as brilliant as you are, have already got the spreadsheets figured out.
Maybe I could buy one of those vacuums that you were talking about for my floors. That would be nice.
Yeah.
Or if you want to send one to me for Christmas, David, that would be great.
I feel like that's a good use of Fun Bucket money. So it's a nice little Roomba or something.
So much fun to vacuum. Yeah.
David, anything you're going to buy?
I haven't thought too much about Christmas presents. So between now and the time that this airs, I will very much likely do that. And if something comes to mind, I'll probably jump on a few deals, but no large ticket items. If anything, I probably need to look around and see what I can get rid of in my house, not collect.
There you go. It's a good thing to do.
Less crap, more adventures. That's my words.
Oh, that's great.
Less crap, more adventures. 2025.
Yeah, less crap, more adventures seems like a perfect way to wrap things up. So I appreciate that.
And happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah, happy Thanksgiving, everybody. And I hope everyone has some good quality time with family, drama-free family fun.
Good luck.
And yeah, we will catch you next episode. Thanks so much for tuning in, everybody.
Thanks for joining.